Hello everyone, welcome to episode 2 of my quadratic series. There's multiple factors aimed to getting good at quadratics, and one of those factors is literally factoring itself. So today, I'll be teaching you how to factor quadratics and solve for their solutions. I'll show you how to turn this, which equals 0, into this, its solutions. First, you'll need to know some prerequisites. How to factor any trinomial. You can learn this by either searching up on YouTube with fellow YouTubers on how to do this, or by searching up online, preferably on iExcel or Khan Academy, on how to factor any trinomial. Make sure you learn how to factor any trinomial where a is greater and also equal to 1. On top of this, you'll need to know what a solution / 0 of a quadratic is. A solution or 0 is the point on a parabola where y equals 0 or the x-intercept. So here, it's on this parabola, it's this point or this point. Now, we can begin. Let's solve these quadratic practices. Let's start with this one. Here, you can see that this quadratic is set equal to 0. Why is that? Well, we know in the standard form of a quadratic, we know that y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And the solutions of a quadratic is where y equals 0. So here, we can set y equal to 0 because that we're solving for the solutions. So here, let's factor this trinomial. We can use the slip and slide method to slide 2 over to 4 and multiply them together to get x squared plus minus 6x plus 8 equals 0. We can factor this out by finding what numbers multiply into 8 and add into negative 6, which is negative 2 and negative 4. Now, we can undo the multiplication we did previously by dividing both sides by 2. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2, and negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. But we're not going to do that because we already simplified this side of the factorization. So we can slide the denominator in front of the x to get 2x minus 2 times x minus 2 equals 0. Now, whenever you're multiplying two integers, variables, or anything, and it equals 0, one of them has to equal 0. So here, either x minus 2 equals 0 or 2x minus 2 equals 0. Because when you multiply them together, it'll equal 0. So if x minus 2 equals 0, we can add 2 to both sides to get x equals 2. And if 2x minus 2 equals 0, we can add 2 to both sides to get 2x equals 2, then divide by 2 to get x equals 1. Now we have our solutions. So x equals 1 or 2. Now, let's do number 2. Here, we can use the slip and slide method to slide the 2 over to the 2 and multiply them together to get x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 0. Here, what numbers multiply into 4 and add into 4? It's 2 and 2. Now we can undo the multiplication again by dividing both sides by 2 to get x plus 1 on this side, but here we're not going to do that because we already simplified this side. So this, we will drag the denominator of 2 in front of the x to get x plus 1 times 2x plus 2 equals 0. Now, either one has to equal 0, so either x plus 1 equals 0 or 2x plus 2 equals 0. Here, we can subtract 1 from both sides to get x equals negative 1. And here we can subtract 2 to both sides to get 2x equals negative 2 and x equals negative 1. Now here we can see that both of these are negative 1. So instead of having two solutions, we're actually going to have only one solution. X equals negative 1. We're done. Now, let's do the third practice problem. Here, we can slide the 6 to the 4 to get x squared minus 10x plus 24 equals 0. Now, what numbers multiply into 24 and add into negative 10? It's going to be negative 6 and negative 4. Now, here we can divide by 6 because we multiplied that by 4, so we have to undo the multiplication on both sides. X minus 6 divided by 6 becomes x minus 1, and x minus 4, it will become negative 4 over 6. But since we already simplified this side, we can just drag the denominator in front of the x. So we get x minus 1 times 6x minus 4 equals 0. Now, here, either one has to equal 0, so either x minus 1 equals 0 or 6x minus 4 equals 0. If we add 1 on both sides here, we get x equals 1. And if we add 4 to both sides here, we get 6x equals 4 and x equals 4 over 6. Because when you divide 6 on both sides, you get x equals 4 over 6. And what is 4 over 6 simplified to? Because remember, we always simplify our fractions. So we get x equals 2 over 3. So we're done with our solutions. X equals 2 over 3 or 1. Also, on top of this, note that I put the smaller solutions in front of the larger ones. So here you would write 2 over 3 first and then 1. And here you would write 1 first and then 2. And although it doesn't really matter, you should always do it as a habit. Well, now we are done. Thanks for watching, and get ready for the rest of my quadratic series. Thank you, and like and subscribe.